latest book, Eating Eternity, it's out or it's coming soon?
We're coming soon,
August.
In
August. But you actually incorporate, three of your passions: writing, eating, and a wonderful collection of images that you've culled. John has a phenomenal collection of antique photographs, or certainly knows where to find everything that's quite interesting. And each one of these chapters is dealing with, for example, you might talk about the Franco-Prussian War. There's a big exhibit going on right now at the Invalides. A typical menu in Paris in 1870 during the siege. Would you describe that?
Well, yes, during the siege, of course, the Prussians cut off Paris from all sources of food, so they had to eat what they could. So they started out eating all the horses, then they got to the dogs and cats, then the rats, and then finally, when the people running the zoo could no longer feed their animals, they put the animals up for sale as livestock, and so these were bought by various butchers, and the meat turned up in various great restaurants. You could get boudin noir made with elephant's blood. You could have kangaroo. You could have bear, and so on. The one animal they could not find a way to cook was the hippopotamus, because no one was prepared to pay for a whole hippopotamus, only then to discover that it wasn't edible. So while all the other animals mostly, well, there were some exceptions, tigers and lions, on the whole, didn't want to deal with them, and they didn't like to do primates because the origin of species had just come out then. Darwin
a little too close to us.
Yeah, there were, monkeys were a little too close to man, but everything else was eaten right down to the bone.
Well, as you know, having written extensively about food, there's absolutely nothing in France that doesn't get eaten. And we don't have to go back to zebras and lions and tigers, but you might talk about, another book, you talk about The Perfect Meal, and some of the bizarre things that are incomprehensible, for example, to Americans.
Well, true. Yeah, the Perfect Meal was a great fun. In fact, it won some prizes in America for writing about food and travel. Yes, I decided to go through the whole of France looking for dishes that used to be quite popular or famous, but which are no longer served. And among these were lamprey, which is a kind of eel worm that was a great delicacy. In fact, one king of England ate so many of them that he died of it, a surfeit of lampreys. And then other exotica of various sorts, and culminating in the roasting of an entire ox, which I'd never seen, but I'd read about, and I thought I would really love to be at that. And happily, through a friend who rang me up one night and said, "You still looking for an ox roast?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I found one." I said, "Great." He said, one sort of drawback." He said, "It's now." So we had to get in the car and drive across France to Picardy. But we got there just as they were putting the 500-kilo ox onto the spit. And we watched it being cooked, and then we walked into the tent and ate it with 500 other people. It was spectacular. It was medieval.
I read it and I wanted to go.
Oh,
it really made it fun.
It was great.
John, we could sit here and talk for hours, but we only have a limited amount of film in the camera.
Right.
So until next time, thank you very much.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Eating Eternity. You'll gain weight reading it. Thank you.